Anybody would like to talk about something?
I wanted to say something.
You wanted to say something?
Yes.
Okay.
I was so happy to see you with Amma.
Yes.
I was so.
Yeah.
Oh. Suddenly I saw you on the screen. I thought, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Well, shall we talk something else?
No.
Yes.
Huh? Talk about love. What do you want to talk about love? It's a tricky subject. Difficulty with love is that different things are being called love. And people sometimes mix them up. There is the emotion love. And like all the emotions, it changes all the time. It comes in a wave, it has a peak, it goes. It's not that you emotionally can start to love everybody equally all the time. It's just not possible. Emotions change all the time by definition. They come, they go, they have peaks, they have valleys. So sometimes people hear that you should learn to love everybody the same. And then try to do that emotionally, and it becomes completely neurotic. It's not possible. Emotions change. You can emotionally pour your emotional love towards somebody, then it's withdrawn again, it goes somewhere else. It's just the nature of emotions. But there is something else that is also called love. That is not an emotion, that is not created. Actually, it's everywhere and in everything. Especially in living beings. And the more there is consciousness, the more there is a conscious being here, the more that simply flows. And that flows like the sun shines. It just flows. It flows in all directions. It flows all the time. It's not something that is dependent. It's not something that is created by the mind. Oh, I like this one and I hope I get something out of it. I love them so much. It's simply flowing. The more you are here, the more you are intense, the more that love simply flows. Then when the love starts in couples, usually in the beginning it's all wonderful, wonderful, happy, happy, seventh heaven. And it's full of emotion, and those emotions are pleasant. When that emotion love flows, it's a very pleasant experience. And then when if it's even coming back with the same intensity, it's doubly pleasant. But slowly, slowly, that emotion comes down, cools down. And then there is the question of whether something else is awakening. Otherwise, people start to get frustrated and think, oh, he made me so happy, she made me so happy, what happened? And then first it's just giving, 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 and that giving feels so wonderful. It's really the giving that makes people so happy, not so much what they are getting. If on top of that they get the emotional energy from somebody else, then that comes on top. But it's mainly that giving that gives that happiness. And then slowly this usually cools down. And people think, what happened? What happened? It was so beautiful. It was so happy. And then the tendency is that they start to try to start to pull on each other start to always want. They made me so happy. What's happened? And then they try to find strategies to get from the other what they had, but it doesn't work. That happiness that one experiences comes out of oneself. It's not coming from the circumstances, it's not coming from a partner, it's coming out of the self. If you are having circumstances that we like, then we relax. Then we don't torture our mind and think it should be different, it should be different, it should be different. And in that relaxation, that joyousness which is always there, which is part of existence, which needs not to be created, that joyousness comes to the surface. It's always there, but most of the time we disturb it with our mental activities. And if circumstances are to our liking, we relax, and that joyousness comes up. Then in the mind we have the tendency to think, I was so happy because of this and this and this and this and this, and we try to reproduce it, and most of the time it just doesn't work. Become aware that the happiness comes out of yourself. You are the source of your own happiness. The more you are aware, the more you can go about life, about circumstances, about whatever, and even a relationship. You can go about it playfully and not always expect that your well-being is dependent from outside, from others. And in a relationship, when that emotional, overwhelming thing is cooling down, sometimes the emotion is there, fine, but it won't be there all the time. It won't be there for years on and on and on. But then, if a mutual tolerance and respect is there, then more and more, without being aware that this is happening, that real love is flowing. And people can be together and be quite happy without being dependent that there are always emotional peaks. And then, of course, there is also the biological thing. And people often completely confuse that biological attraction with love. It's simply biological attraction. And it drives people crazy. People and animals, all the mammals are nuts about that. Of course, it can come together with the emotional love, it can come together with love, and then it can become an expression of that love. But basically, at first, it's mainly just a biological attraction, and we are making too much a big fuss about it. And also, of course, that usually, after some time, it loses also its glamour. The passion disappears, and then either it really becomes an expression of love, or then it just sort of fades away and becomes rather a sad thing. It's just a release of tensions. Love yourself. And that doesn't mean to fall in love with your appearance. Doesn't mean to fall totally in love with your body. Treat your body well, that it's becoming a good instrument. but love that sense of being, that which you are touching when you say I. When you say I without thinking, immediately your attention is touching something so totally familiar. As soon as we start to think about it, then we create all kinds of stories about it, and then it's the whole past we are thinking about. It's not that sense of presence that we are thinking about. It's about, I was born then, I grew up there, and I had this experience, I developed that skill, I did this, I did that, they did to me, and the whole story. But prior to that, if you just say, I, there is immediately that sense of presence that becomes at least a moment conscious. Most of the time we completely overlook it. Our attention is caught up in the stories, in whatever happened or may happen somewhere else, and what people thinking about us, and whether they like us, whether they don't like us, whether I'm going to be successful or not. All these stories, they completely prevent us from simply being aware of that sense of presence. Learn to love yourself. Learn to love that sense of presence. The more you love that, the more that love is simply radiating and embracing everybody and everything. You have been talking about Amma. She's really such a wonderful manifestation who expresses that love that is simply radiating. I mean, also Amma is not emotionally loving everybody. Her emotions, they come and they go, and sometimes she's angry and sometimes she shouts. But she has decided that she expresses that real love that is simply there for everything and everybody, just to go on and on and on, expressing that by hugging everybody all the time.
In the Bible, there's this beautiful love word for love, agape.
Where is that?
Agape. In the Bible.
In the Bible.
Agape.
Agape.
That's the love that Jesus talked about.
I see.
And such a beautiful word, agape. I just wish there was a little more in English. There's more words for love than just one love.
Yeah.
As he's saying.
Actually, in the Indian languages, there are also two words. The emotional love is sneha, and the real love is prema.
Yeah.
And people sometimes totally confuse
Even
the
then.
two. But in English, in German, in French, we just call it love. So we have to learn to distinguish what is really desire, what is want, what is something that we want to grab, something that from which we can squeeze out some happiness, or whether it's simply flowing beautifully.